diving in. Hello, everyone. This is Zafar Abundance Walla, and you can find me on abundancewalla.com. And today we've got some exponential lady with us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Abundance Show on Global Abundance Organization, Gao TV. Today we are joined by a remarkable guest whose life is a testament to powerful resilience and human spirit. From overcoming deep personal trauma to becoming a beacon of hope for children thousands of miles away, she has turned her pain into purpose. She is a social worker, a trauma survivor, a visionary founder of Love Heart NGO, where she provides education and safety to the next generation. Please welcome the inspiring Mikhale Love Al Fatal, a woman who truly embodies abundance mindset by giving back to the world from depths of her heart. Love, welcome aboard.
Hi, so good to talk with you again. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Love, first of all, I would love to have your story walk through. How the trauma happened and how did you get over and where are you heading to now?
Yes, so right now I'm actually in Big Bear. I'm not sure if you can tell, but there's a picture behind me and you could see the ski lifts up here. So that's pretty cool. I'm staying at a timeshare, and usually this is like the season of winter with the snow, but there's not too much snow up here.
Okay. So how about the trauma? What was the trauma? And can you get us your life journey?
Yes. So I think that being trauma centered and trauma aware is very important, because a lot of times, especially right now with everything going on in the world, people have experienced a lot of trauma and they need to have an outlet to express this. And right now we are constantly being triggered, whether by any type of politics or by wars going on, or even by changes in schools. And so it's the time right now to really address what we're all going through collectively, and to be able to challenge that and to more overcome it, and have a growth centered mindset.
Okay, Mikhale, you've spoken openly about the difficult childhood. How did you manage to shift your mindset from place of survival to place of abundance and giving?
Yes, I think that the biggest importance to me, I'm having trouble with my camera, so
Not a
maybe
problem.
I'll
Not a
set it
problem.
like
It's
this.
normal. It's technology thing, and it can go on any side, anytime. Yeah.
So the most important thing to me is really just being able to really have validation for what we've experienced, and to remain authentic about our struggles and even things that we've overcome, because that can be helping others. So I think that it's really looking at things with an open mindset, being non-judgmental, and thinking, is this thing that I'm struggling with, is this trauma something that I want to remain stuck in, or is this something that I can try to overcome, and to find a way out of the tunnel? It's very important. And we also have to just realize that we can become unstuck, but we really do have to do the work. We have to take responsibility for our lives. We have to just put in the shadow work to do that.
Okay. Okay. But I like to go to your childhood. What were the difficulties? What were the challenges in that point of time, and how did you overcome them?
Yes, I had a very interesting childhood. And I think that part of it is that my stability in my family was a little bit challenged when it comes to just facing different situations from living with a single mother, let's say. So I think that what's most important is to be able to just understand what we've been through. So, like in my experience, I faced food insecurities. And this was very challenging to me because on the outside, somebody might look at me and say, wow, she's never faced anything in her life. It looks like her life is just great by social media, for example. And maybe they might not have known that I've faced this as a child. And it really changes the way that you see things, especially the way that you view food, and control and boundaries and things like that. So it's really good to be aware of those things, just to be able to understand them and to be able to go through it and learn from your experience, not just stay stuck.
Okay. How about the time when you got your house burnt?
Yeah, so that was really important too, because my house was burned down about, I want to say about 12 or 13 years ago. And when this happened, it was very sudden. This was from a car fire, and it basically tumbled over the side of the freeway. And because of the high wind, the fire just really took off. It was going up and down mountains, literally skipping houses and changing directions. And I think that one thing that really helped me through that was community, because when that happened, um, a lot of times, we're so busy. We're in this rat race. We're thinking about making money. We're thinking about our health. We're thinking about finding love. We're thinking about making sure that our kids are taken care of. We're thinking about housing, our vehicle. And so it's really important sometimes to just really slow down and think, do I have my basic needs met? And this has to do with, I believe his name is Maslow. It's called Maslow's theory. And this is the theory that you need to have your basic needs met. So one of the things that he talks about, he has like a pyramid in his theory. And it talks about how the most important things to us are on the very bottom of the pyramid. It's the basic needs. We need to have water. We need to have food. We need to be able to have a safe place to sleep, everything like that. Until we can get to the very top of the pyramid, which would be being able to dream, being able to create, being able to collaborate. And to be able to do that, we have to get unstuck. And that means that we need to really focus on our basic needs. And sometimes we are so go, go, go in the rush that we're not focused on our basic needs, but it's still always something that's very, very important.
Okay, as per your name, it's Love Mikhali, and people call you Love. My question about love is, is there any love in the world? Does it exist? As I'm talking about man and a wife, or
Yes.
the boy, is there any?
So I would say that I believe there's such an abundance of love. And that's why I'm on your show, because we are speaking about abundance and we are speaking about what's truly important. And I was speaking to my neighbor the other day, and we were talking about collective manifestations. We were talking about how when we manifest something with somebody else, it's more powerful. So, me and you could be working on abundance. We can be working on manifesting, solving homelessness, manifesting getting every child in the world a free education. And because we are both putting in this effort, this energy, this collective motivation into this idea, this energy that could become just be a small idea, but just completely burst and grow. And what we were talking about is it's so, so important. And the truth is, me and you are not the only ones, as you know, that want abundance, that believe in abundance. There's people all over the world. And I truly believe that these people are put all over the world to remind people of the collective goal and to be able to work together and to just remind people why we're here. And we're here to connect and to collaborate and to be a community, a big community. And I think that sometimes when it comes to love, we lose track of that and we lose track of what's really important. And what's important is connecting. Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. The Now I like to talk about your social work life, and
Mhm.
I founded an NGO, and you've been awarded lot many times. What's that? I mean, just get us a walkthrough.
Yes. So social work is the study of people in society and basically just based ethics and morals and how we treat others and basically what's fair, what's not fair, stuff like that. And it also has to do with sociology. And so one of the things that I learned from social work is that we shouldn't have to judge. We should really just learn and hold space for people's experiences. So one of the things that is very, very important and that's been going on right now is um, the raids, the ICE raids in the United States, which is where our president in the United States is saying, hey, this person is on a targeted list where they, at one point in their life, were supposed to be deported for something that they did. But the truth is, these lists aren't really up to date. So some people are on these lists and maybe they have already gone to jail for a petty crime that they've done. Or maybe this is somebody who was in a gang who, maybe did something 20 years ago or whatever it may be. And so what's happening is a lot of these people that ICE is targeting here are getting arrested and they're getting removed from their extended families. And so this might be people that we know in the community. And what I would like to say is we need to start at the very beginning. We need to identify what an illegal alien is. We need to identify what asylum seeking is and what that actually looks like. And that's very important because I think that clarity means everything. And a lot of people don't understand the process of seeking asylum. So, in my experience, I've helped two people through the asylum documents. They're very hard. When I did a few years ago, it was about, I want to say maybe about 13 or 15 questions. And it was about a page and a half long. And these questions are very, very challenging. And with that said, somebody that is trying to seek asylum, they can enter the United States at any border and they can enter illegally, if we want to say terms like that, illegally, and they have a full 365 days to file as an asylum seeker. The reason for this is because it keeps people safe. If they're actually in danger when they're filing for asylum, they're able to hide out. They're able to not be traced. They're able to escape these situations that they've been in. This gives these people a chance to kind of get a few steps ahead and be able to maybe get a job, maybe find a support system in the United States. There's also the fact that one of the questions on the asylum document has to do with contacting people that were still in these dangerous situations that they've ran from. So this might be saying, hey, we need your neighbor to report on the fact that the Mexican mafia has been after you in the neighborhood. But if you think about it, why does your neighbor want to put their life in danger by signing documents for somebody who already escaped? They probably don't want to do that. Or maybe there is some evidence that you might have to reach out to your extended family and say, hey, I need this document. And sometimes it's not possible to reach your family members anymore. So I think that the biggest misunderstanding and what social work and having my background in helping others and helping the community is really just filling in the gaps on what people don't really know and what we're assuming. So yes, I mean, even as a citizen, I can assume, yeah, it's probably not a great idea for somebody to cross the border. There's a lot of rules against that. That's like all common sense. But what isn't common sense is that there's specific special terms for people that are seeking asylum that protects them. So these are just things that we need to share with others so that it's creating a better bridge to understanding for people in our community to find safety.
Thank you for the heartening response, and it needs to be addressed. I think you've been trying a lot now. Okay, now, I mean, we've got the problems. I mean, to me, is scarcity is the problem, scarcity mindset. And the
Mhm.
solution is abundance. Abundance is already there. We need to tune into it.
Yes,
So, what's abundance to you, and why the scarcity is the problem?
that is such a great question. So I would see abundance and scarcity on one line, just a continuum. And it has to do with fear and love, truly. It has to do with hey, we feel this love, but we might be fearful. And I think that that's the same with abundance. Sometimes it's so close to us, it's within grasp. We are so close, we can taste it, we can smell it, but we are scared. We're scared that maybe it only exists for a certain amount of people. We're scared that this abundance might run out. And the truth is, that's not how it works. We have the resources available to make this a beautiful world where nobody's getting hurt, nobody's getting killed. There's no wars. Wars do not need to exist. We need to utilize our resources in a better way where we are collaborating instead of challenging others. And I think that it's really important what you say about the scarcity because it's true. When people are living in a fearful mindset, they are more likely to go to war. They are more likely to be fearful and think that maybe somebody's after their resources. And that's a lower vibration. That's not the vibration that we want to be at. We want to be at a high frequency where we can create and we can organize and we can collaborate. That's more important.
Wow. Okay, Michele, how I like to ask three advices that you want to give it to your 20 years younger self.
Ooh. Hmm. I would say number one is follow through. Even if you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't have the skills, you might not have the experience, follow through, see where it leads you. So that's my number one tip. My number two tip would be always look to seek further education on something. So this might be having an interest in something and finding if there's a local free group that you could get involved in. This might be having an interest in going on YouTube and finding more information, or this might even be contacting somebody that's skilled in a subject that you like. I think that it's very, very important to reach out to mentors and to learn more about what you're doing. And I actually remember being in elementary school, I was in the chess club. And I did that at one point. I was reading a chess book and we had reached out to the person who wrote it. So I thought that that was very cool and memorable for myself as a kid. And I think that my third tip would be just believe in yourself. Believe that you're capable of anything and everything and truly feel it. Feel it If you need to look in the mirror and say it to yourself 100 times to believe it, do it. Because eventually you are going to start feeling it and believing it. And I apologize. There was one thing that I wanted to mention to you at the beginning of the video, and my camera kept slipping, but it just came back into my head. But you had mentioned what are very important things to do when it comes to creating, I believe, and just staying in the right mindset, staying positive through any negatives. And one thing that is very important to me is starting my day out on a positive note, which to me is reading a little bit about what's going on in the world and then doing my spiritual work. Maybe reading some quotes. Maybe it is reading from mentors that I have. It might be reading a few chapters in a motivating book, or maybe it's listening to a podcast about somebody inspiring. But I really, really like and absolutely need to get motivated early in the morning. That really inspires me, and it helps me have a very positive day.
Wow. There's another question, tipping question. I mean, how about what the correlation this bullying has towards low self-esteem?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, so I would say that a lot of times bullying occurs when somebody is in need of some type of attention. And it honestly makes me really even sad just even thinking this, because I've seen it so many times. And I think the biggest thing is when people are a bully, sometimes they're not feeling that love, that affection, even that validation from anyone in their family at home. So they're trying to seek that out in kids in their class. They might be seeking this out in teachers or maybe even staff. It could be people on the playground. And what it really is it's a call for help. It's a call to continue to learn more about this person and to maybe ask about their day. Maybe it's learning their name, not just thinking, oh, that boy that always wears flannel shirts. Maybe this is asking this boy, hey, what's your name? What are you interested in? And actually getting to know somebody, because a lot of times when people are bullying, it's because they're treated bad by somebody else. This might be a chain reaction. So maybe their dad or their mom is coming home at the end of the day from work and just being in a very, very upset, mad, bitter mood. And this child is feeling the weight of all of that. This child is feeling, their parents fighting about bills. This child is hearing their parents fighting about not having money for healthcare bills. And so people lash out for different reasons, and it all matters and it's important. So this is just one of the ways that people are begging for attention, begging for friendship, begging for somebody to care about them.
Okay. Now, the tipping question is about sex education. My part of the world is quite shy to talk about parents talking to their kids or offsprings. They don't generally, and they feel bad about this, and generally then kids get otherwise things. So as a parent, you got also kids also. So how did you teach them to was that in fact? I mean, I would like you to please define sex education and how to teach it to the kids.
Yeah, so in the United States, we usually start introducing children to this idea of reproduction and sex education, I want to say in 5th grade. So that's when it first starts. And then there is another education in 7th or 8th grade. So about 2 years later. And basically, the first one is just about puberty and everything like that. And the second one is usually about sex. and protection and everything like that. So I think that in the United States, our perspective is to tell children about it, just to prevent them from having any, let's say, unwanted pregnancies, or maybe they're like young and they have a child. So it's basically just teaching children what are the consequences if you do have children young, and what else could happen with that. So it's not particularly that we're encouraging it in any sense of the way, but it's more just to educate on safety again.
Oh, thank you for that deep and very fair and frank perspective of yours. Okay, okay. How about the rate of what I should say, the people, those who the rate in your country is soaring high. What's the reason? I mean, despite the fact that people are civilized, they are educated, they've got all knowledge is what is required, and resources too. Still, I mean, it's soaring high. What's the reason?
Oh, that's a great question. And I think what it is that I think that people have been ignoring and allowing and minimizing this urge, this sexual, let's say, experiences, or I don't want to say experiences. That's kind of like um, I'm trying to think of the right word that I want to use, but I would say that mainly what I believe is happening is that um, there's no consequences. There's not consequences for pretty much anyone that is in the business world that's not blue collar. So you might see somebody black that rapes somebody, and you might see a politician or somebody that is a millionaire, and they're going to have completely different consequences. And it's extremely upsetting and extremely unethical and wrong. It's just completely wrong. And if anything, I feel that it's backwards, because on one hand, you have all of these business owners who actually, as you mentioned, are educated and do have the knowledge from right from wrong. And then you have people that might have really had a lack of education, or may have even had to drop out of high school. So they aren't even getting, or middle school. So they haven't gotten that education on what's acceptable, what's right, what's wrong, what's taking things too far, that type of stuff. But what I really want to mention is the repercussions that women are feeling right now in this day and age because of everything that's happening. I believe that women are feeling very vulnerable, very hurt, and very silenced. And it's kind of, I was just listening to a friend of mine on Facebook, actually, and she had a very good example. She was saying that she went in to go get her nails done. I think it was a few days ago. And there was, it was like a woman setting where she's getting her nails done, she's getting her toes done. Of course, it's for women, children, men, whoever, it doesn't matter. But it's her and her friend, and then it's these two female nail techs. And this man comes in, and he sees that the atmosphere is very mellow. There's candles lit. The lights are dim. It's more of like a massage type of setting. And in turn, this man talks about himself the whole entire hour that my friend was here. So she met a friend here. She couldn't talk to this friend next to her the whole time, because on the other side of her, there's this man that's going on and on and on about how wonderful he is. And I think that those are the type of situations where I feel like we have to be a little bit less tone deaf, and we have to really call things out. And so she mentioned that the man at the very end, he turned to them and he gave like a little, like a little smirk. And he said, "Oh, I'm just so sorry. You guys probably had to deal with me talking the whole time you were in here." So he obviously knew it was intentional. And in turn, he was looking for these women for validation to say, "Oh, it's fine. It's totally fine." But the truth is, it's not fine. And I think that these are the situations where we really need to speak up and really address what's going on in reality. And the reality is sometimes what's happening in the real world with Epstein, with Trump, with all of this is extremely triggering for women, especially for sexual violence or child violence survivors. And when the men around us are just ignoring that this went on, or making jokes about it, or just pretending that it's not happening, it's extremely hurtful. And it's almost silencing the feelings of people around you that are being triggered daily by this. And so I think that with all this coming up, it's not just the fact of why are people doing this? Because I agree with you. It's absolutely horrible and it shouldn't be happening. But also, what can we do about this not repeating itself? And the truth is, what we can do right now is we can call out every single comment that we need to. And I think that this really has to do with our standards on how we were raised. And I was thinking about this because I don't really want to bring up politics right now, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes you can say there's two different political parties. One would be more very traditional, one is a little bit more lax. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. Neither of those parties matter. What matters is, does somebody do the right thing? And if they don't do the right thing, is somebody around them avoiding it? Are they ignoring it? Are they just earmuffs? "Oh, I don't see what you're doing." Or are they holding that person accountable? And the truth is, we need to hold every single person accountable. It doesn't matter if it's the president. It doesn't matter if it's the janitor. It does not matter. What matters is we should not have anyone in any leadership position who has commit any sense of crime. And even beyond that, I don't even care if people have committed a crime. If you are associated with somebody that is a convicted sex offender, and if you've been associating with this person for 30 years, you cannot tell me that you're unaware of what they're involved in. I don't believe you. And at the end of the day, it's not about even the crime. It's about, what company do you keep? What things do you sweep underneath your carpet? What do you ignore? And what type of person are you? How accountable are you for the things that you allow to be happening in your life? And that's really what we need to be holding people accountable, whether it's whatever political group, whether we're from, Salvador or Chile or Taiwan, it doesn't matter. We just all need to have these general common sense, basic levels of respect to others. And we need to call people out better and more frequently.
Oh, what a deep insight. I'm really amazed the information you have, the insight you have, and the thinking you have is amazing. Okay, how about the Epstein files? I mean, is it reality or some agenda, or I mean, how your part of the world is looking at this? Is it a fact or what?
Well, we can talk about my conspiracy theory, but I believe that this is all connected to Israel. And I believe that the United States has also used Israel as a pawn in the Middle East. And due to this, we have a very toxic idea of what terrorism actually is. By that, we can see in our news, in any type of news that we're looking at, that there are victims and there are offenders. And sometimes it doesn't really make any sense. Like, I was reading an article the other day and it said there was, I want to say it that said maybe 32 Lebanese citizens that were harmed or that were killed, but 3 Israelis that were murdered. In just the tone of the words that are used, killed, it is more, something happened to them. It's hard. This person was killed. Murdered, somebody hurt them, somebody was out to get them, there is a bad guy out there. And so I think that these are the type of terminology that we really need to pay attention. And we also need to realize who's funding these newspapers that we're reading, who's funding these websites that we're relying on, because it really all comes down to the opinion of these sites that who is paying for it, because that's really the opinion that we're hearing. So I think that the whole Epstein files is a very horrible thing. I do think that there are more files out there that have not been released. This has been noticed because the last 2 weekends in a row, they have released more and more files. The first time 2 weeks ago, they released files. And then this past weekend, they released files when they were in the middle of announcing something. I forgot what they were announcing, but it was like a total distraction. So I think that the most important thing is just do your research. Don't just assume that you know what's going on. The best thing about the Epstein files is that all of the files that were released, they are released in full. So you can actually go to a website, you can click on them, you could read all the details, you could watch videos, you could do whatever you want to do to make your own conclusive findings. But what I worry about is who else has access to the Epstein files. There was somebody who had a record of the police files that was at the jail when Epstein was killed. So who has those files? What country is blackmailing us right now with this information? And why are we in a war with Iran that we don't need to be in? What's the reason behind it? Because yeah, we can say, okay, they have nuclear weapons, but so does Israel. So do other parts of the world. We can't just, blindly attack different countries that have nuclear weapons just for the fun of it because, people are thinking that our president's a rapist. Let's be honest. That's not the right way to run a government, and that's not the right way to run a country at all. So it's all about accountability, and I'm really hoping that everybody is holding every single person in the Epstein files accountable.
Wow, what an insight. Well, I mean, Kale, I'm not a politician, I'm not an observer, or I don't have any, I'm just a layman. But I see the Netanyahu being and Trump being eaten out of these Epstein files. I mean, the least impact I see, they'll be removed from there or they'll be impeached and they'll go home. But I mean, if somebody had these files, or all the institutions or any powerful segment of societies, if they do have these files, they why do they don't release it once for all? why,
So
why are
there,
they why are they picking and choosing people, and then why are they picking some timing specifically? If at all somebody has released this, I mean, this is very welcoming that somebody is releasing this. I mean, we were unknown of the fact that what was happening, but why are they doing it in pick and choose, selecting, and they are being selective, and there's certain timing. I mean, if at all I am that the one who has released this, why I'm doing though? I mean, what's that I want to establish? What's that I want? I mean, is that I have got my own agenda? Is that I have got a bigger game in my mind that I want to fabricate my own story? I want to grab the world resources. I want to take the advantage of my having these files with me. What's that? I mean, what's your take on what's your stance on it?
So there's actually a term for this, and I'm so sorry. I'm drawing a blank on what the word is, but it is a Russian word, and the word is actually it's actually worse than the word blackmail. And there is a documentary about this from a few years ago. It starts with KOM. Um, I'll have to look up the word for you because I have a picture. I was researching it just this week. And basically, it's a word that is described in Russia. And this word is basically the meaning of the word is blackmailing somebody for a long amount of time, for many, many years sometimes, and only holding this information that you know until this person is a position where you're able to use that blackmail material. So this is a strategy that Russians use in their government. This is something that they do to many, many people. And there has been many people that have actually um, successfully dropped out of politics because of this type of blackmail. So I think that for me and you, I agree with you. I would assume that blackmailing somebody, you just want to get that, it's like me when I'm trying to keep a secret from somebody. I'm like, I can't keep the secret. I want to tell everybody. And that's exactly the opposite of what these people are doing. They're not blackmailing to get the information out right away. They're waiting. They are waiting until that moment when they can use that pawn. And right now, I believe that Donald Trump is the pawn, to be honest. I believe that there's so much blackmail material for him that he is scared and he is doing whatever he can to follow, he's kind of like walking the white line right now, where no more information is getting released about him, because in the United States his popularity is dropping so quickly. Not only have basically every single promise that he said when he was running for office, nothing has happened. He ran on the framework of there being no more wars in the Middle East, but he started a war in the Middle East. He said that we were going to get a rebate check, but he actually is taxing us a lot higher this year. He said that we're going to have lower gas prices, a better economy, and more jobs. And we just lost 92,000 jobs last month. Our gas prices are the highest that they've been in about 3 years, and our grocery prices are incredibly crazy. And so every single thing that Trump was running on has not happened at all. And that doesn't even mention all the frivolous spending that his administration is doing. There's mention that Kash Patel, he's using all these private jets, flying around the world, drinking beer with the hockey team and going to visit his girlfriend while she's performing. And, that's all great and everything, but that's coming from the United States taxpayers. So, I just think it's unnecessary. We shouldn't be doing all of these unnecessary things. We should have people that are taking their roles seriously. They're dedicating their lives to what they're doing while they're in this position. And I think that we need people that genuinely just take their roles more seriously.
Wow, I mean that's real deep that you are talking about. But how about it? It's not only Trump losing; it's
Mhm.
America losing. It's Trump is not and only the identity. We can't talk about him. He's not a private guy. He's not somebody who's running his own shop and his impact is limited to certain people, but he is impacting the globe. And this is USA who's losing integrity, losing, I mean, on the frontier of character. And this is not the first time. I
Yeah,
mean,
and we're losing our international students. We're losing our tourists that normally come to visit us. It's just not a safe place. It's there's safer places that exist right now in the world. And I really think that it comes down to this toxic environment that Trump is really making more normal. And it's not right.
yeah, I mean, look, and when we look back, even, I mean, even if even bombing Iraq, like, or making Tora Bora of in Afghanistan, or like doing any hellish thing to any part of the world and saying something, telling about massive weapons of mass destruction, and then you destroy Iraq, you Holocaust, completely, and then you say there are terrorists in Afghanistan, and then you've
Mhm.
been pouring your dollars of taxpayers' money into bombing, shelling what these rocks, and making even the primitive civilization into even destructive one. And even if we are talking about Iran having nuclear bombs, one thing, anything if I don't have, or the other part of the world don't have, if somebody else is having it, is a question why is having it, or she is having this which is harmful. I mean, I myself have got my deep pockets and having everything in it. I don't want to have you. What's that? I mean, is it kind of double standards? Or Iran has never hit any of the part of the world,
Mhm.
and he has spoken only to, and he risen up to the occasion and talk about the Palestine. Everybody can see genocide, or I mean, inhuman things going on. And if he's been vocalist about that, is it wrong? I mean, how you as an American, I mean, let's forget about Iranian or other part of the world.
Mhm.
And I'm not in talking in anybody's favor or against anybody, but just a sane mind. What's your take on the situation?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I also think that this is coming up in a lot of discussions I have on Facebook too. So I'm really glad that you brought this up. So the way that I see it is, as an American, for one, we don't have all of the information about the history of Iran. We don't have the history of the government. Um, let's just say that we have little understanding of what's really occurring in Iran. Okay. And with that, I think that we could all agree that we don't want women to be repressed. We don't want there to be violence. We don't want all of these horrible things that we're hearing about that may be happening in Iran. We, of course, don't want those to be happening. But I think that there's a line that we need to draw when it comes to where we can step in or not. And I think that it's really important that we have that boundary. I don't think that it's appropriate for us to just think, hey, we know what's best in this country. We are choosing to destroy the way that their government runs, these leaders in the government, because we feel like we know best for what's in Iran. I don't think that that's the right way. I think that the way that this should have um, untangled is, I think that Trump, if this was really his goal, or as you mentioned, this could be anyone, it doesn't even have to be about Trump, but let's just say any leader of the world has a problem with the leader in Iran. I think that this might be a way for us to say, hey, we're really worried about what's going on in Iran. Maybe we can have a collaborative peace meeting with these people in a few countries that are known for being mediators. And maybe we can discuss what a better leader might look like and why we have a problem with the current leader and what we would like to do. What could we possibly, how can we possibly make this a better um, process of change, okay, an improvement? And I think that just by the let's just say the what is the word I'm trying to say, when you are just doing things, the impulsiveness, there we go, when we are just impulsively by, oh, we think that something's going wrong, we're just going to bomb them. I just don't think that that's the right way to do it. Obviously we've killed over 160 female girls at a school. And these are things that we cannot excuse just because we think we know better. How would this look if every country felt like this? If every country had an ego where they just thought, well, we know better than this other country, there would be wars everywhere. And maybe that's the reason for some of the wars right now. But at the end of the day, there needs to be a collective way to bring this to the attention. Maybe it's even talking with the United Nations, where we have a better way of collaborating moving forward. I don't think that it was the right way that we did everything. Even if we do want there to be freedom for women in Iran, there's a better way to do that.
Wow, I mean, this is all part of scarcity we've been discussing and the problems just because of the scarcity of mindset. How can we bring all these killings, Epstein's, and such stuff, and even what's wars are going on, the lower, higher, medium conflicts are going on around the world towards abundance, a world, a better blue dot, or this world, and as a resident of the planet Earth, how can we co-create the world of abundance?
I think we need to get the leaders in that are truly focused with unwavering focus. We can't be having these people that we're putting into office that are easily distracted. It kind of reminds me of alcoholism in a way. Like, you might hand somebody a beer and one person's going to say, hey, I'm in the middle of a meeting. I don't want a beer. What are you talking about? Like, we're talking about business right now. And there's going to be another person like Pete Headswith or whatever, Cash Patel, who's going to pick up that beer and just get completely wasted. And we can't have people that are going to be careless about our future, because we do need a future of abundance. We need a future where people believe in us so strongly that they are they're doing all that they can to get the goals that we need. So I think that when it comes to abundance, we really need to be taking the extra step. It's not just saying, oh, this is something that we need. It's actually saying, how can I help create and shape where things will happen faster? So maybe this is somebody joking about child extortion, and we are sending that screenshot to their boss. Maybe this is somebody that's a janitor at a school and talking about inappropriate things. And, we're not going to ignore that anymore. We're going to tell so that this person's fired. It's all about keeping people accountable in all roles. Like I mentioned, that have to do with leadership, and just really choosing the leaders that we know will follow through.
Wow, that's amazing. I think that's the real practical thing that's doable and one should do. Will it have some impact on coming general election?
Yes, and that is super important because we do have a mostly fair voting system here. And it's really important because right now we are taking notes of these politicians that are not standing on business. The people that are saying one thing publicly, saying one thing to their community, and then voting a different way. These people are actually being called out and they're being held accountable. And the most important thing is people are showing up to vote and they are getting voted out. So we are having different areas of the country where they have been, let's say, like liberals their whole existence for like the past 10 years. And now all of a sudden they're a Republican, or maybe we're having these very, very red states now turn blue. So it's really important that we recognize who we're voting for and these ethics that they stand for, because it matters, like you mentioned.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, now moving forward, how about the problems in the world? I mean, do we need to fix them in a manner that by through bombing, shelling, or through coordination, cooperation, education, or the coexistence and making the world a better place that we want to? Or I mean, let's keep bombing, shelling.
I think that we definitely need to keep trying to do better regardless. Um, just because my neighbor isn't recycling doesn't mean that I shouldn't recycle. Just because I know somebody that drives a diesel truck doesn't mean that I shouldn't drive a more friendly vehicle that's not harming the environment. I think that we really need to hold ourselves accountable regardless of what people around us are doing. It's really important. So I think that my biggest tip would be just focus on what you're doing and continue to make a difference and know that you're making a difference, even if it's not acknowledge daily, even if you don't see the difference every day, just know that you are doing your part regardless.
Wow, great. I mean, also, okay, okay, let's, I'm putting an assumption question. Just a magic wand if you have, and you become, I mean, you replace Trump, you become the president of USA. Being an American, being American president, what are three things that you would do the first day?
Oh, great question. I think, it really comes down to running a classroom. I used to be a preschool teacher, and the first thing that I noticed when I went into my classroom was there was complete chaos. Complete chaos. My students, they didn't have a teacher. They had two aides in the classroom. So there was actually nobody leading their day. There was no routine at all. It was basically just chaos after chaos. Sometimes they would be reading in the morning. Sometimes they would have a long break outside, and they never, ever knew what they were doing. And that honestly reminds me of the government right now. Every day, it's not just children walking into their classroom, not knowing what's going to happen and being a little frantic, having a little anxiety. This is every day. People all over the world are waking up and thinking, oh my gosh, what happened last night when I was sleeping? What's going on? What horrible news are we going to read today? And I think that the most important thing is we really need to get back to our core values. So the first thing I would do is I would work with my team um, at the United States in the White House, and we would come up with values. We would come up with new values, and they would be based on the Constitution, and they would be written everywhere. This would be inside of our school books. We would have a book, and they would be written right here. Um, this is the things that we stand for in the United States, whatever it would be. And I think that it all comes down to respecting others. The second thing that I would do is I would bring back not only DEI, but I would also bring forward a lot of American ambassadors. And I know that we already have this, but I would like to see them more active. I would like to see ambassadors from all over, from other countries all over the world that are actually advising and helping me if I'm president, because I want to be open to feedback. I want to be open to learning. I want to be open to learning new information, education, and how we can lower drug prices. And then the third thing that I would do is I would set up a system where not only are people being treated better when it comes to healthcare and having free cost, having affordable healthcare and affordable medicine. But I would also create a better system when it comes to taking care of our elderly, because I feel that there is such a big gap when it comes to the care and pay of caregivers versus the actual needs and financial abilities of seniors. And I think that there's just a very big gap and it's getting wider every year. So the other thing I would do is I would make sure that we know that we are taking care of our seniors in the United States, that this is a value that we need to have again. I've seen too many people be left in nursing homes, left in dementia care facilities, and their families just not check on them. And I just don't think that that's okay. So I think that my third rule would be we're getting back to family values and we are going to take care and connect with our extended families again. So I think starting at the basics for me would be those three topics.
That's really that's heartening, honestly. I mean, this is really heart touching, and back to basics and back to humanity rather. Okay, how about your policy about Pakistan? I mean, I want your candid and frank. I mean, just ruthless, analysis and no mercy. You get me the real. I mean, if you're since being an American and then president, and I want your real opinion about the
Yes,
foreign policy
perfect.
regarding Pakistan. Yeah.
Yes, that would be nice. And I'm still trying to come to Pakistan too.
I mean, when can you come to Pakistan?
I am hoping either next year or the year after because I did have some different travel plans come up. So I'll have to kind of see now. But I'm
Just
still definitely coming. I can't
yeah.
wait.
Sure, do let me know just because you've got a lot of fan following here in Pakistan, and since I have to hold Abundance Summit also, so I'm also thinking about rescheduling it, and I'll try to take in loop and like to take you as a keynote speaker on
Yeah,
abundance.
I would love
And
that.
yeah, if I mean if at all you're planning, let me know when are you planning so that I can also reschedule and I'll so that I can also ask other professionals to jump in. But again, my question remains same. Your policy for Pakistan.
I actually don't know. I would have to research more, I believe. But I think the
Okay.
biggest thing is that we need to be able to collaborate and to learn from each other and to work together because that's really important.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, your message to the planet, this blue dot, that we are resident of this blue dot planet Earth. What's your
We can
message?
all make a difference. It is possible. So it's just about getting our feet wet and doing what we can while we have the time to. We have the opportunity.
Thank you so much. This was Lami Khale, and she's abundance of love and hope and peace, prosperity. She's been connecting people. She didn't tell us anything about her reward that she's been in nominations and rewards. Last question before I leave, I would love to know. Please do let us know about your credentials about the awards.
Yes, so I was selected in the goddess pageant. And last year I was actually, I'm not sure if we talked about this last time we talked, but the book that I helped co-author, which is called Women of Purpose, Creating a Better World, it was actually just a few months ago given an award. And also, we are now on the Amazon International Best-Selling List. So definitely check out your copy if anyone's interested. It's a really awesome book with really incredible stories.
Sure, I like to have the link also so that I can give in the description and people then buy and read this and so that they get the gems of wisdom from your book. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Anything that I didn't ask and you wanted to tell, please tell us.
I think that's probably it, but we'll definitely have to touch base in a few weeks and we'll catch up again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just pulling off this recording and switching it off, ending the recording. But please don't go away, just as I have certain things to discuss. Thank you so much for being on the show, La Mikale. You are an abundant person. Thank you so much for being
Thank
tuned into
you.
abundance and spreading a balance to the globe. And thank you so much. You're welcome. See you soon again on my show.
Bye.